Still half day. We're not done yet, so we gotta
It's
keep going.
yes, it's early.
Yes. How was school?
And I don't go to school.
Oh, okay. Are you working already?
I am looking for work, for a job.
Oh, you are applying for a job yet?
Yes,
Ah, okay. Have you tried anything? Any interviews yet?
yes. I like days ago I was in an interview and I'm waiting for the response.
Okay, good. What
Yes,
company did you go to?
I like to work in a beer company,
Hmm.
so that is where I am. I am
A
applying.
beer company?
Yes.
Is that the same company where my friend works?
The from Sucre, right?
Uh-huh.
No, it's different. This is from La Paz. This is beer from La Paz.
Okay. Um, I mean, I can talk to my friend.
Okay, no, I think I'm going to wait for this company
Uh-huh.
because the seda is in my city.
Oh,
Sucre is
okay.
another city, yes.
Okay.
But
Well, if just in
thank you
case,
very much.
let me know.
Okay, thank you.
The offer is there. He just got promoted, so he's he's a big boy now.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Let me know you need help. Okay.
Okay, I want to ask you, you want to change the hour of our classes?
Yes, I wanted to ask you that because it's being very complicated for me at this moment because since I'm taking some meetings from my boss, it's gonna be like that for the next month. So I don't think I'm gonna be available in the mornings.
Sure, we can pass in the afternoon at this time if it's good for you.
Okay, that sounds good.
At 3 p.m. every day?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay,
Okay, we don't have that many classes left, so we're almost finished. Okay,
okay.
so awesome. Today we're going to discuss some parts of the essay. Okay, we're going to talk about the introduction, we're going to talk about the body, and the conclusion. Okay, so let's talk about this. An introduction, and of course, is important to the essay because it creates an initial impression in terms of the quality of your writing. A clear, well organized, and relevant introduction will most certainly create a positive first impression on the examiner. In this case, if you write an essay for the TOEFL exam or any kind of exam. So, what makes up an effective introduction? So, let's take a look. But before we start, how do you usually start an introduction in your point of view?
Talking about the
In
topic?
general, in general, in general.
Talking about the topic?
Any topic in general, yes.
Yes. No, talking about the topic. That's my introduction.
Okay. Yes, well, in your point of view, how do you start an introduction? Your opinion.
Talking about a specific thing.
Mm, in general, what
Uh,
comes to your mind when you need to write an introduction?
mm, First, talking about what is the most important.
Well, you have to talk about the issue or the headline, right? What is it that you're going to talk about? That's one thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
I don't know.
I'm sorry?
I don't know.
Well, you write two essays. How did you start your introduction?
Talking about the general task, the general topic.
Uh-huh.
That's how I start.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to talk about right now is how can we make sure we write a very effective introduction? And pretty much is just information, okay? So the first tip about writing an introduction, you need to stop to read and analyze the question, whatever question that you're going to talk about or topic, it doesn't matter, okay? For example, in the writing task 2 or the essay number 2, you were supposed to address all the parts of the question or task in a relevant way, okay?
Okay.
So because your introduction is the first step towards achieving this goal, you need to introduce your answer to all different parts of the question, okay? And that is why it is important to take some time to read and analyze the task before you start writing, so you know exactly what you're being asked to write about. Yes, sometimes we do research and we write at the same time.
Okay. Yes.
That's why it is recommended that for effective reasons, when you are given to write about something freely, that means you can select a topic. When that option is given to you, use a topic that you're most familiar with. And it's not cheating. What you're gonna do is just update to yourself if there's any other new information. And that's gonna make it easier for you. Now, if you select to talk about something that you don't know anything about, before you write anything, you need to get articles, resources, and read about them.
Okay.
In before digital media, before electronic files, I used to make copies. For example, I used to make copies of the resources, and I would highlight the information that I believed was the most relevant. And of
Uh,
course, I had copies of different sources, right? And then at the end, I would select the ones that were the most important, that had the most impact. Because a research paper or an essay can be a very effective way to inform people, or also it could be just trash,
yes.
right? It could be just blah. I remember I had a teacher in high school many years ago, and she said, usually when you write a paper, the first 3 pages is effective information. After 3 pages is just garbage,
Yes, that's right.
right? Because we just want to comply with the necessary information. Okay. But let's see. That's the tip number 1. Number 2, begin with a general statement and then focus on the details of the question. So begin with a general statement before focusing in on more specific points or questions about the topic. Using a similar model in your own introduction is a great way to start your essay, but make sure that your general statement is clearly related to your topic and is not too broad. We call this a thesis statement. The
Okay.
thesis statement is going to show what is your posture, what side are you taking, if or what is your point of view, and you're going to stick to that.
Okay.
Okay. Tip 3, use your own words. Yes, you can use your own words, and also it's important to do research. While it is perfectly acceptable for you to use the task as a guide for your introduction, make sure you do not copy material from the task. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if you're given a specific topic, make sure that you just don't copy it.
Okay.
You get a topic, you do research, but not just don't copy. Because when you do a research to write an essay, it's like Wikipedia. Does it happen to you that you're looking for something in a specific and all of a sudden you find something more interesting and just click, click, and then click, click, and the main research disappears?
Mm,
I don't know if that happens to you.
yes.
Okay, so pretty much we need to do that, but doing research separately. If you find a topic that you're not familiar on a certain article, you might need to look somewhere else.
But
Not
what happens
necessary.
on TOEFL if you don't know the topic?
No. In the TOEFL exam, what's going to happen is you have to use the same information they're giving you. And you have to use your knowledge of what you know.
Okay.
Sometimes it's going to be difficult.
Yes, because there are some
That's it.
topics that you don't have
Exactly.
idea.
Maybe it's a topic that you don't know much, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess we just have to wait until we take the exam. Okay. Copying the task word for word shows the examiner that you have a limited range of language, okay, which can affect your band score. Instead, change the order of the information. Use synonyms and explain more complex ideas in your own words. Yes. Also, when you're going to use quotations, sometimes it's not necessarily to just copy the information and use quotes. Paraphrase, use your own words. The same information that is being there, but use your own words. But make sure that you mention in article so and so or these other mentions the following. You don't have to use quotes, but use your own words. But make sure you signal who wrote that information.
Mm, okay.
It is also important not to use a memorized introduction where you insert words related to the question topic. Examiners read thousands of responses, so can recognize memorized scripts. Yes. Remember, for example, imagine being in a class in the university and there's more than 100 students.
Okay.
And of all those 100 students, for some reason, 20% of the students decide to write about drug abuse. Okay. Do you know how many times the teacher is going to read the same introduction?
What is drug abuse?
Abuso de drogas.
Ah, okay, okay. Yes.
Or any other topic. Do you know how many? Do you know teachers? They can find that some papers look very similar, and there's many reasons for that. It doesn't mean that the students they work together. No, maybe they just use the same sources,
Mm,
right? Or something similar.
yes, right.
So by using your own words, you can elaborate and also avoid having to have your teacher suspect that you just copied word for word.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
And also, very important, state your position in the introduction. You will need to develop a position while exploring the different parts of the task. It is then important that you clearly state your position in your introduction. Now, when you write your essays in TOEFL, if they give you a question about your position about something, be clear about the position, what side you're taking.
Mm,
Okay, do not be partial. Well, this one is also good. No, be careful. You can
okay.
say that people prefer that option, blah blah blah, but do not mention that you have partial thoughts or second thoughts.
Mm,
Just be clear. Okay,
okay.
explain how you plan to develop your essay. Even though this strategy can be considered as optional, briefly explaining how you plan to develop the topic can help you better organize your writing. Okay, so it is a good way to let the examiner know that you'll be covering what you'll be covering in the essay. Yes, explain how you plan to develop your essay. Okay, so you can say I will give a list of issues. Issues will be notified. Um, I will present uh, examples, something like that. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes, oh, well, in most essays, you don't have to write an outline, but in research papers, you do because it's a bigger paper. It's a bigger document. It's more than 6 pages. So you need a big outline to let the writer, I mean, the readers, the examiners know what you're going to be talking about in each section. Okay.
Okay.
In an essay, especially the ones that we have talked about, it's not necessary to have an outline, but if you can have it, no problem. But that takes time, and remember, you are under the clock.
Okay.
Okay. And review your introduction. Yes, this is important. Remember, when you write a paper, uh, also remember that it's not going to be correct the first time. So
Okay.
you write your draft, tu borrador, and read it again. Wait maybe a few hours or maybe wait for the next day. Read it again. Okay.
Okay.
Don't forget to reread your introduction once you finish writing your essay. It is common for test takers to begin their essays thinking about a specific argument or a specific way to organize their writing, but change their minds as they develop the topic. So after completing your task, your essay, make sure that your final draft still matches your introduction. Yes, because sometimes we write an introduction about something and the body and the conclusion maybe is not, we deviated a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we have gone over some important strategies for writing a good introduction, it is time to look at a sample introduction. Start by reading and analyzing the prompt as mentioned in tip 1. Then carefully read the sample introduction and notice the different strategies used, which have been highlighted for you. Okay, so let's see. We have some sample questions. Number 1, the threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Okay. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy.
Okay.
Just simple question. The second one, the benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. Okay. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, as you can see, this is one topic, one simple question about one topic, nuclear weapons, pros and cons. And we have 3 main questionings. Give reasons for your answers and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. So, read the first one. The threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Okay. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. So, in one side, having the threat of nuclear weapons makes that sense of nations to be united and talk about peace negotiations, right?
Yes.
At the same time, nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy at some extent. Can you give your reasons? Can you write about your posture about this?
Yes, but not 300 words.
No. Just simple. Keep it simple. Can you tell me, before you write anything, tell me something. Tell me, what is your posture towards the threat of nuclear weapons?
I agree that threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace because the threat between some countries is the threat that some countries it will be agreed for a lot of time, so we don't have a war in a lot of time.
I cannot hear you well.
That the threat between countries of nuclear weapons maintains world peace because we won't experience a war in some time.
Okay. So you agree that countries, nations should keep nuclear weapons?
Yes,
Okay. And what about the nuclear power providing cheap and clean energy?
that is benefit for us because we have power in all the places with price that is cheap and accessible for a lot of people.
Okay. And the benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. Remember, you took a posture already about in favor of nuclear power and weapons. But there are some disadvantages. What is your posture on these disadvantages?
I don't know that. What is outweigh?
Sobrepasan las desventajas.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Entonces, ¿las ventajas son más que las desventajas?
Yes,
Ok, ¿cuáles son las ventajas?
that we have peace.
Ok, nuclear technology.
Yes, nuclear technology and nuclear power and nuclear weapons maintains world peace.
¿Recuerdas lo que me estaba diciendo aquí el tip? ¿Dónde estaba? Okay, you will need to develop your position. Explain how you plan to develop your essay. Okay, so it's a good way to let the examiner know what you'll be covering in the essay. And also here, I think it was here. Use your own words. Now, you are repeating what the statement is telling you. Maybe you're not that familiar with the topic, correct?
Yes,
Okay, but what have you heard in the news? Can you use an example of something on the news? Do you have any background information about nuclear
No,
technology?
no, not too much. No, I don't have information.
No?
No.
Okay. So yes, this could be an issue then when we get to the point in the TOEFL.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, come on, I'm giving you a topic that is complex. There can be many other examples in the TOEFL exam, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next. Now let's see. Well, before we move on, the threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Okay. So at some extent, I do agree with this posture, with this statement. Ever since World War II, the use of nuclear weapons against Japan gave the world a sense of warning or precaution that we need to be careful whenever we want to engage in bellic relationships. Okay, the
Okay.
Japanese at the beginning, they did not believe that the US had sufficient knowledge of this technology, but after the second explosion, it was eh, it was it was noticeable or evident that the nation had the resources to create such weapons.
Okay.
Nowadays, nowadays, uh, the use of nuclear weapons is not only used. The of nuclear technology is not only used for weapons; it's also used for cheap and clean energy. But at the same time, nations have decided to keep some weaponry technology at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
And what are the disadvantages of having weapons? Well, of course, the disadvantages are to create bellic relationships against uh, among all the nations. But the technology has created a much broad advantage in giving uh, remote civilizations or countries or places the benefit of having electricity and also to have means of transportation or new manufacturing goods. So I do agree that the threat of weapons or nuclear technology is a benefit for humanity.
Okay.
That would be my fast definition of or putting it in thoughts. Okay. But what did I use? What did you notice what I used?
Some of the examples I put here.
I use historical examples, right?
Yes.
And you know that you knew about World War II and what happened with Japan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, use that information that you know already.
Okay.
Okay? Use information that you at some point you have learned.
Okay.
Okay. So give me just a second so that I can show you my screen again. Now, a sample introduction, a general statement. Nuclear technology has been around for many years, of course. Well, it started in World War II, or maybe even before that with the Russians, but it was finally taken to the next step during the war. Whether this technology is used for weapons of mass destruction or a source of energy, many are of the belief that the use of nuclear energy has more advantages than disadvantages. Yes. So we talk about energy, we talk about manufacturing, we talk about medical equipments, and for example, in the medical field, X-rays work on nuclear energy. Some devices, like I forgot the name. The CAT scan also has runs under nuclear weapon, not nuclear weapons, nuclear energy. In manufacturing, for example, some devices for inspection and for processing labels, bottles, caps, they use nuclear technology. Okay. I mean, we have nuclear technology everywhere.
Okay.
Position. In my opinion, nuclear technology can indeed be a very efficient energy source. However, nuclear weapons possess such enormous destructive power that any benefits that this technology may offer to humankind are not enough to counter its potential devastating effects. Yes, if we use nuclear weapons for destroying things, come on.
Yes, you can do a great damage.
That's correct. Yes. Now, there's a lot of benefits, but we need to be smart on how to use it.
Yes.
Okay. This essay will address why the drawbacks of nuclear technology outweigh the benefits and will include relevant examples to support this position. Now, you and me, we said it's good to have nuclear technology. In this example that I have is the opposite. Okay. There are more disadvantages. And we said it here. Nuclear weapons possess such enormous destructive power that any benefits that this technology may offer to humankind are not enough to counter the potential devastating effects. In few words, you can do more damage than benefits.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, that's what it is. Any questions about this?
No question.
No? Okay. So let's see. What do you follow any news relating to extraterrestrial encounters?
Well, some time ago there was a news that 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 says that the NASA have information about extraterrestrials.
Okay. Okay.
It's information that is private information.
Okay. Okay. For example, let's see. If I say state your position in regards to the government officials to release background information regarding information on extraterrestrial technology.
What is
Yes.
regards?
Con respecto.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Muy bien, ese es nuestro nuevo topic, okay? So, ya tenemos la pregunta, ya tenemos el topic. Podemos hacer algo similar así, general statement, details, position, plan. ¿Podemos hacer algo similar usando esta información?
Yes.
Ok, vamos a tomarnos 5 minutos, ¿vale?
Okay.
Trabájalo, piénsalo, escríbelo y lo revisamos, ¿vale?
Okay.
Okay, good. Let me know when you finished.
Okay. Okay, I'm finished.
Okay, so let's read your answers.
General statement. Extraterrestrial technology is unknown in a lot of countries. Details. There are a lot of information about extraterrestrial technology that governments want to have private. Days ago, the news talked about extraterrestrial technology and say that it's beneficial for all of us because it's faster and better.
About your
But
position,
what?
you are in favor or against it?
Against?
Against?
No, favor that that government has to release background
Okay,
information.
just make sure you do that, okay?
The government should tell more about the technology because that will benefit for all of us.
Okay, okay. So the government should have a plan to let us know, right?
Yes.
Okay. And talking about the benefits, what benefits can you think about extraterrestrial technology? Benefits in what? In what areas?
Mm, on on the internet?
Internet?
Yes.
Okay. What other benefits can you think of?
Mm, we, mm, I don't know.
What about medical technology?
Yes, sure.
What about transportation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. So yes, we need to keep on practicing, okay?
Okay.
Now let's go into another section. How to write the body of an essay. Okay. Now we talk about the introduction. Now let's talk about the body of the essay. Are you ready?
Yes.
So the body is the longest part of an essay. This is where you lead the reader through your ideas, elaborating arguments and evidence for your thesis. The body is always divided into paragraphs. You can work through the body in three main stages. Okay. Create an outline of what you want to say and in what order. Write a first draft to get your main ideas down on paper and write a second draft to clarify your arguments and make sure everything fits together. Okay, so in few words, what he's telling us here is that you write an outline, you know, uh, so you
Mhm.
can,
I only see an introduction.
oh, sorry, let me, here.
Yes. Now.
Okay, yes. So you create an outline. That's pretty much how you have structured your ideas, right? You write your first draft and then use the first draft and make some changes. And that's going to be your second draft. Okay.
Okay.
The outline. Before you start, make a rough outline that sketches out the main points you want to make and the order you make them in. This can help you remember how each part of the essay should relate to the other parts. Yes, remember, when you have different paragraphs, make sure that you talk about the same thing, right?
Yes.
However, remember that the outline isn't set in stone. Don't be afraid to change the organization. If necessary, work on an essay's structure. Work on an essay structure begins before you start writing. Okay. So yes, what they're telling us here is that sometimes we start with the first part of the body because that's the first source that we find interesting. But once you have your first draft, that's one of the changes that you want to consider. The order of your ideas or your points. Do you want to change them? Do you want to restructure? It doesn't matter. Whatever is best for the essay, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So while you're writing a certain section, if you come up with an idea for something elsewhere in the essay, take a few moments to add to your outline or make notes on your organizational plans. Yes. So let's say you completed your first draft and then you're working on your second draft and you say, okay, I have another point to add to my outline. No problem, you can do that. You can add or take out. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Your goals in the first draft are to turn your rough ideas into workable arguments. Add detail to those arguments and get a sense of what the final product will actually look like. Okay? So that's what it is. Es tu borrador. Pero una vez que tengas tu draft, ya tienes algo. ¿Sí me explico?
Yes.
And you start working on it. Start whenever you want. Many writers do not begin writing at the introduction or even the early body paragraphs. Start writing your essay where it seems most natural for you to do so. Yes. No, not because you need to start with an introduction. You start your essay with an introduction. No. You can also start working in your bodies, in the body of your essay. And then from there, you get your ideas to have a good introduction. Okay.
Okay.
It's like being a lawyer. Have you seen that series Suits?
Yes.
Okay. So there's always an introduction to the jury before they start talking about the case, right?
Yes.
Okay. Pero primero trabajan el caso y ya cuando van con el jurado, teniendo toda la información, pueden hacer un buen argumento en la introducción. So it's pretty much the same. Some writers might prefer to start with the easiest section to write, while others prefer to get the most difficult section out of the way first. Think about what material you need to clarify for yourself and consider beginning there, okay?
Okay.
So it's up to you, pretty much. Okay, tackle one idea at a time. Each paragraph should aim to focus on one central idea, giving evidence, explanation, and arguments that relate to the idea. Okay, so yes, you separate your ideas in each paragraph. At the start of each paragraph, write a topic sentence that expresses the main point. Entonces tenemos un thesis statement en la introducción. El thesis statement nos dice nuestra postura sobre el topic. Después tenemos subcomponentes, tenemos nuestro body y tenemos varios párrafos. En cada párrafo vamos a tener un topic sentence de cada idea, ¿ok? And that topic sentence expresses the main point. Then elaborate and expand on the topic sentence in the rest of the paragraph. When you've said everything you have to say about the idea, move on to a new paragraph, okay?
Okay.
Now, keep your argument flexible. You may realize as you write that some of your ideas don't work as well as you thought they would. Yes, y esto me pasaba a mí. Escribes y después como que pasó un día y lo vuelvo a leer y como que no me convence, okay? Don't give up on them too easily, but be prepared to change or abandon sections if you realize they don't make sense. You'll probably also come up with new ideas that you not yet thought of when writing the outline. Note these ideas down and incorporate them into the essay if there's a logical place for them, okay? If you're stuck on the section, move on to another part of the essay and come back to it later. Yes, if you start working in a paragraph about a topic, okay, you can stop and maybe start on a new one, right?
Okay.
You don't have to necessarily complete it. You're working on it. You're building the pyramid, okay?
Okay.
Be flexible also to yourself. Don't delete content. If you begin to dislike a certain section or even the whole essay, don't scrap it in fit of rage. Even though you don't like something, make copies. If you wrote something the first time, okay, save it. Make a copy and work on the copy. You make changes, change that second copy, make a third copy, so on and so on. Okay?
Okay.
If something really isn't working, you can paste it into a separate document, but keep what you have, even if you don't plan on using it. You may find that it contains or inspires new ideas that you can use later. Yes. Okay. It's like Wikipedia. You
Okay.
start working on something, and then you find something more interesting, and you just move on. Okay?
Okay.
But don't scrap it. Do not delete it, okay?
Okay.
Note your sources. Now, this is very important. Students often make work for themselves by forgetting to keep track of sources when writing drafts. You can save yourself a lot of time later, ensure you avoid plagiarism by noting down the name, year, and page number every time you quote or paraphrase from a source. Okay, what they're telling us here is that if you're working on your first draft, since the beginning, you need to make your list of sources, your works cited. Is the list of all the information that you used listed. Tienes que organizar bien de dónde sacaste la información, the name of the articles, name of the books, name of the websites, everything.
Okay.
Do it since the beginning, because at the end, maybe it becomes tedious.
Okay.
You can also use a citation generator to save a list of your sources and copy and paste citations when you need them. Yes, a citation generator. Hoy en día, you can go online and you have a website that helps you arrange your sources. When I was in high school, the only citation generator was a book. And I tell you, if you have an article, do this and that. If you have a website, use this and that. Do this, put it here, the name here, the pages here. Now on the website, it's easier. You just put the information and the website will give you how to put it on paper.
Okay.
Avoid perfectionism. When you're writing a first draft, it's important not to get slowed down by small details. Now, that would happen to me a lot. Get your ideas down on paper now and perfect them later. If you're unsatisfied with a word sentence or argument, flag it in the draft and revisit it later. Flag it. Yeah, like you can place a paper clip on it, or you can highlight it, or you can put a circle in red or something like that. Flag it. So you can go, you know that there's something that you didn't like there. When you finish the first draft, you will know which sections and paragraphs work and which might need to be changed. It doesn't make sense to spend time polishing something you might later cut out or revise. Yes, in your first draft, you don't have to be perfect. Sometimes you have to write a second or third draft. It depends.
Okay.
Okay. Oops, let me see. There. Write second draft. Working on the second draft means assessing what you got and rewriting it when necessary. You'll likely end up cutting some parts of the essay and adding new ones. Yes, we talk about that, right? Now, check your ideas against your thesis. Don't forget that your thesis is your main idea for the whole essay.
Okay.
Everything you write should be driven by your thesis statement. Look at each piece of information or argumentation and ask yourself, does the reader need to know this in order to understand or accept my thesis? Does this give evidence for my thesis? Does this explain the reason behind my thesis? Does this show something about the consequences or importance of my thesis? If you can't answer yes to any of these questions, reconsider whether it's relevant enough to include. This is important. Okay. If you can't answer yes to any of these questions, reconsider whether it is relevant enough to include. En cada párrafo de tu body, hazte todas estas preguntas. Si no contestas ninguna de estas preguntas con un yes, maybe you need to take it out.
Okay.
If your essay has gone in a different direction than you originally planned, you might have to reword your thesis statement to move accurately and reflect the argument you have made. That one is like the last option. If you need to reconsider your thesis statement, do it.
Okay.
Okay. So write the second draft. Working up, this is the information I had. Sorry. You see, plagiarism. Watch out for weak points. Be critical of your arguments and identify any potential weak points. Yes. For example, unjustified assumptions. Can you be confident that your reader shares or will accept your assumptions, or do they need to be spelled out? Lack of evidence. Do you make claims without backing them up? Yes, do not make a claim if you cannot show evidence. Logical inconsistencies. Do any of your points contradict each other? Do not contradict yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Uncertainty. Are there points where you are unsure about your own claims, or where you don't sound confident in what you're saying. Yes, do not engage in writing about something that you don't know. You have your topic and you want to talk about a specific point about that topic. And that's new for you. And you're taking time to understand it. If you're not clear about it, do not include it because you might confuse yourself and the reader.
Okay.
Okay. And check the organization. When you're happy with all the main parts of your essay, take another look at the overall shape of it. You want to make sure that everything proceeds in a logical order without unnecessary repetition. Yes. Do not try to make sure not to be too repetitive in your ideas, okay? Try listing only the topic sentence of each paragraph and reading them in order. Are any of the topic sentences too similar? Each paragraph should discuss something different. If two paragraphs are about the same topic, they must approach it in a different way. And these differences should be made clear in the topic sentences. Yes, sometimes it's not necessarily to repeat something in another paragraph. It's not necessary. And sometimes two topic sentences might be very similar. Reconsider. If you need to delete one, do it. If you think you can combine them, do it, but do it wisely.
Okay.
Does the order of the information make sense? Looking at only topic sentences, let's see at a glance the route your paper takes from start to finish, allowing you to spot organizational errors more easily. Okay. And lastly, draw clear connections between your ideas. Finally, you should assess how your ideas fit together both within and between paragraphs. The connections might be clear to you, but you need to make sure they will also be clear to your reader. Yes, and this is something that we fall into. It's a mistake that I make a lot. You're writing the information, you're putting everything on paper. So you know, but do not assume that if you don't give certain details, people will also know. Remember, you are the expert on the information at the moment. You want to let other people know about it. Okay. Within each paragraph, does each sentence follow logically from the one before it? If not, you might need to add new sentences to make the connections clear. Try using transition words to clarify what you want to say. Yes, try to be smooth in your writing. Use transitional words. Okay. Remember, we talk about grammar information in Pearson. Between one paragraph and the text, it is clear how your points relate to one another. If you're moving on to an entirely new topic, consider starting the paragraph with a transition sentence that moves from the previous topic and shows how it relates to the new one. Okay. And we talk about transitional words and phrases and expressions. Okay. That's pretty much it for my behalf right now in regards to how to write a good conclusion and a body. We need to talk about we talk about introduction, we talk about body, we need to talk about conclusion tomorrow, okay? And we will do more exercises from British Council, okay?
Okay.
And talk about the new essay.
Okay.
Okay, and I will give you this information too.
Okay, thank you.
You can have it. And thank you so much for class, Lucy. Sorry for finishing a little bit late, but I needed to conclude that part, okay?
So, see you tomorrow at 3?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.